Yeah. Oh, come on, you. I'm just fighting a DataMiner cutter. Come, assist me. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another DataMiner cutter. We're bringing the thunder today again with an amazing topic and an amazing new guest. I'm here joined today with Miguel Obregon. Hello. So, Miguel, who are you and what do you do in Skyline? Can you tell us a little bit about all of that?
Hello.
Hello.
I am solution architect and currently working on the EPM team. EPM stands for Experience and Performance Management.
Okay.
And we cover basically integrations or projects that monitors thousands of or millions of devices.
I've heard about it. A lot of data.
Indeed. So then we need to be a bit more careful with the dimension
efficiency
and the stability and so on. So yeah, so whenever there is a project that will involve monitoring tons of devices, then probably we will be there around.
I mean, it takes a pretty big brain to be able to figure out how to keep things efficient when you're dealing with so much data, so much information. So I'm very glad I managed to grab such a big brain today to tell us about a very interesting new topic. I believe I heard the term Node Edge get dropped. So what is Node Edge?
Yep.
What do we do with it?
So Node Edge is a component that is already available for quite some time, I think since 10.1.5. So what this component does, available of course in dashboard and low-code apps, allows you to create diagrams, or graphs that shows connections between entities.
Okay, that's very carefully worded. All your syntax is carefully worded. So you've mentioned connections between entities.
Yes.
So you don't say devices, you don't say services.
Indeed.
You just mean the collection of anything you can think of.
Indeed. So entities could be, as for example, in normal implementations, DataMiner objects like elements, services, views, or could be something external as well. So imagine that you have an inventory and you want to ingest that information to DataMiner. We can use that information also to display a diagram and the connections.
Entities, correct term.
Yeah.
Trying to encapsulate everything there.
Everything.
And you mentioned low-code apps and dashboards. So it's a component in low-code apps and dashboards directly.
Yeah.
Are there any prerequisites? Like, do you need to install a DXM or anything specific?
No. It's
no
available.
Flags or anything?
No, it's available by default. Of course, there are specific features that are coming, or new features that are available in specific versions.
Yes.
But of course, if you want to get, you want to check it, you can of course go to the.
So it's linked to your DataMiner version.
Yeah.
You mentioned the minimum, or did you not? Maybe.
Yeah, I mentioned the minimum, but still, I'm not pretty sure. I think there was 10.1.5, but maybe
10.1.5 or up.
Yeah, but anyhow, in the documentation, we'll find it.
Yes, in the docs we will find it. So you've prepared an exercise you will show us and that people following can do as well?
Yeah.
All right, so let's jump in. I'm excited. Let's have a look.
Okay, so I will use different components that has been discussed in previous kata sessions.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yep.
So we've watched the previous ones and you've grabbed from there?
Yeah. So...
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I need to be documented, you know.
Of course.
So you already talked about ad hoc data sources. If I'm not mistaken, was in kata session number 4 or 5.
Oh, I don't know the numbers by heart, but yes.
So then we will use an ad hoc data source to get data from
an external
environment. Yeah, but in this case, I will get it from a file. So I have already my list of files.
An input.
Indeed.
Static.
Okay, where I will have my devices, and also my connections. Okay. Something that I forgot to mention before to jump to the exercise is I took connections between entities.
Yes.
In Node Edge terms, the entity will be a node.
A node. Okay.
And the connection will be the edge.
Aha. So Node Edge.
That's the reason of the name Node Edge.
Right. Makes sense. Makes sense. The entity is represented by nodes, and then the connection between them represented as an edge. So a node edge, meaning the graph, the diagram, where we'll see how everything is connected.
Yeah, indeed.
Now, can I ask?
Yeah.
I have to ask, because I used to be involved a lot with another feature, another module in DataMiner that we have also used in the past to represent connections and interfaces on elements. I believe DCF, that was called, DataMiner Connectivity Framework.
Yeah.
What is the difference between both? And is there a certain thing where you should use A, should use B, or is the Node Edge kind of the replacement or the future version of DCF? Or do either of those have a specific scenario where you would say you should probably use that or that?
I mean, DCF can be used as a source, as a fit for your Node Edge diagram.
Ah, okay. So you can build upon an existing DCF if you have it.
If you have it.
It's not a requirement.
Indeed.
Great.
So that is the beauty, I think.
So
here.
Node Edge is both an enhancement
Yeah.
to DCF or an extension on it, but it's also something that can stand on its own.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing the exercise today is a stand on its own
Yeah.
Node Edge diagram
Indeed.
based on the data ad hoc data source.
Indeed.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No worries. And
I'm
also to make it even more, I think another use case will be you have already DataMiner elements, and that will be, for example, your nodes.
Yes.
And your edges or connections is coming from an external site as well. So you can also do that integration as well.
Okay.
So yeah, so the way how you can integrate this, I think are different ways.
Extremely flexible, it seems like. So
that is the word, indeed.
Cool.
Flexible. Okay, so then what I would like to do today, I would like to build this diagram that you have here.
All right, so you've got a nice example there.
It's a small example, so then I would like to keep it simple because I would like to focus on how to build this diagram using Node Edge. So what I have here is just a bunch of PCs connected to a switch, and on top of that there is a router.
Yeah, seems a very standard, simple setup for pretty much any corporation organization that does anything these days. So
indeed.
Okay.
So then I have that information on files, that represents my inventory. And this one is something I can show you here. Once I am connected to the system.
Okay.
Let me just
try and reconnect. Okay.
Reconnect. Yes, that works. All right. So where I have that information, I have the information in documents.
So the information you're looking for now is to do what? This is the input of the input file you mentioned.
Indeed. So in this case are JSON files.
Yes.
And this one, why I use JSON files? Because there is a nice ad hoc data source that has been used previously.
JSON files.
Indeed.
Yes.
So then we can use an ad hoc data source to parse that data and have it in a GPU.
That's one that exists, so you can find it on the catalog.
Indeed.
And install it.
Yeah, but for this specific case, we create a package specifically for that.
For this.
So
for this particular data, you've made one that contains a few other things.
Have that ad hoc data source, have the files, so then you can just
click and go.
Indeed.
Click and go. Okay,
and that is what I did.
So
here I have my package that I created that has that ad hoc data source, have the files, and also has a dashboard that already contains the queries that we will use for our Node Edge example.
Okay, so everyone watching along, you can go to the catalog, find code kata Node Edge, download or deploy that one on your system.
Yeah.
And then you're ready to go with the next steps.
Yeah, indeed.
So you probably already have that one yourself, I'm guessing?
Yes. And that's the reason I was, I jumped a bit.
Because I saw the files, Yes.
Indeed. So you have already the files here. Great. And also, you also have the script. And here.
A few automation scripts there. Or yes.
Specifically the one that we're looking for.
The ad hoc one, probably, yes.
Indeed. And we have also our dashboards that currently, let me just reconnect. Currently they are empty dashboards. But something important, I already have here the queries that I need to use for my exercise.
Okay, so you've already prepared some of the queries, so we can skip that. We've seen how to make these queries
indeed
in the previous katas and stuff like that.
That's the reason I try to see the previous videos to see where I can pick up, so no, I just would like to focus on things that are new here. Okay.
Yeah, I'll give some work to marketing and ask if they could put links to those katas we mentioned right here, and now here. And okay, they're looking angry at me. Let's not make them work too much. Okay, but so previous katas to explain how to do things like the ad hoc data source, like the creation of the queries.
Yeah,
great.
Indeed.
We've got a baseline. Let's go.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so I will start building my Node.js diagram. What is the first thing I need to do? I need, of course, to drag and drop my Node.js component.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's a specific new component to drag drop. Does this work both in dashboard and low-code apps?
Yes, in both.
Okay. Excellent.
Okay. Now, something important here, and something also I forgot to mention. What is the requirements for Node.js?
Yes.
The main requirement or the source of data is queries. So
queries.
I didn't mention it, but yeah, are queries.
All right.
So there are not other data source supported at this moment. Only queries. So the only, for example, if I want to...
yes, and you mean from in the... Okay, I guess. Sorry, I was following behind a bit. So, but indeed the queries as part of your inputs on the right there. Indeed. When you do a dashboard or low-code app. So queries are the only ones currently, GQI queries. Then.
Exactly, yes. GQI queries. Exactly. Okay. So then, for example, I have here 3 queries. Mm-hmm. The first one is network devices, where I have, let's go and check it here. I have my list of switches and routers. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I have just information that will help me to identify these devices on the Node.js.
Yes.
One of the most important, of course, is the ID, so a unique identifier.
Yes.
So of my device. So each row here will be a node in my Node.js diagram.
Okay.
Okay. I have 3 rows, and I expect to have 3 nodes on my Node.js diagram.
These are not necessarily connected to an element.
No.
So it could be just input, in this case, input from the file or the ad hoc data source. Could be whatever database that maybe already exists.
Indeed.
Or an Excel or whatever you might be using, you can use that. You don't necessarily need to already, you could probably, but you don't need to already make all the elements and stuff. Great to get this diagram.
All right. So then something important, I have here the type, so that will help me later on. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I put an extra data, which is just kind of, you can see it as a properties of
simulate a bit
of your nodes. Okay. Yes. Then I will just show then my list of PCs. Here I have my list of PCs, and again with some extra data. And of course, the most important one is the edges, no, the connections or edges. I have here 4 columns. I have source, device ID, and interface ID, source interface ID, and I have the other pair, destination device ID, and destination interface ID.
Again, these are from any input, any file. It's not necessarily, because similar naming is used for DCF.
Indeed.
But to avoid confusion, this is not the DCF that might be configured.
Not at all.
It is a separate thing. Good. Yep. Good. Okay. Right. Okay.
So then I have this information, and as I was highlighting already, that
the edges, the node edge.
Yes. Here what is my relationship between
source to destination?
Yeah, and the relationship is the ID of the device.
Yes. Okay. Makes sense.
Perfect. Now I have a look at the information.
Okay.
I can remove this table because I don't need it. It's just to visualize it.
Yes.
Now I will start from, if I go again to my diagram, I will start first with the 2 levels on top, because then I can, we can visualize it.
Router and switch.
Yeah, indeed, from router and switch. Okay. So then for that I have my network devices. I show you I have there my list of switches and routers, and I put it here.
And then drop.
Also I need to put the edges. Okay.
Yes.
So then I put the data, the input data that I need to build my Node.js diagram.
Yes.
But of course, as you can see, I didn't configure anything. So then we start the configuration.
I see. So now we've got the input data. Now we need to do some configuration on how to display or use that data.
Indeed. So then I select my component. Then I have settings.
Yes.
In my settings, you can see that I have the 2 queries that I added, and here I need to make a configuration. I need to define that which jQuery query will be the node and which jQuery query will be the age.
Yes.
Okay, so then let's start with the nodes.
Okay. So you can select that.
I select that, and then you see that at the bottom, that selection goes to the bottom.
With an extra wizard or an extra
Indeed.
configuration. Yeah.
And then what you can see here is, okay, there is a requirement, which is the node ID. So you need to tell to that component, hey, I need to sum a column that represents uniquely that device.
So, okay, you need to define which column contains the ID, which will be device ID.
Exactly.
In this case.
If I do that,
sense.
I have now my 3 components, my 3 dots.
You've got 3 dots. Thank you very much for what? No, I'm kidding. Okay, so I'm gonna guess then for those are the switches. So for the routers,
the 3 components are there. The switches
those
and the router. You remember there were 3 components.
Yes, 2 switches and then 1 router. Yes. Okay, so those are all 3 of them. Okay.
Yeah. But now you can say, okay, how can I make a distinction?
Yes, which is which? Because I already made the mistake.
So then you have the option to override.
Okay.
So then how we can override based on a column.
Okay.
Which column?
Because with the type, that type, excellent. Yeah, with the type we can do this indeed.
Yeah.
You did mention that extra column there and said it would be coming back later.
Yeah.
We are here, so we're using the type there.
So then, for example, I call it here. Sorry, I need to put it correctly. Switch.
Okay.
Okay. So first I will focus on the switches. Then I will say, okay, for this one I could use a shape. Here we start configuring the nodes. So for example, for this one, I could choose, for example, an hexagon. And then you can see,
I just visually already, you can see, okay, those will be the switches, and then the one that's left is the router.
Indeed. So you have the option to change the shape, and even further, you can also put a color on that. Let's put a nice color, for example.
That is the benefit of working immediately within a dashboard or low-code app with a component. Is always a lot of layout options immediately available as well.
Yeah.
Very cool, very awesome.
Then we can, for example, change the icon, because a circle for me, doesn't say too much. Let's look for a switch, for example, here. And I have a switch here.
All right, so it actually does have a lot of nice icons as well.
Yep. And then something else that helps you to the visualization is, okay, how can identify which switch we are talking about here?
Yeah, names, identifiers.
So then you have the label. In the label, you can say, I want to display the name as a...
or the IP address or things like that. Makes perfect sense.
Indeed. All right. Perfect. I have already the nodes configured here. Okay, the nodes for the switches.
Yes.
Now I need to do it for the router.
For the router as well. So very similar, I'm going to guess, selection of a...
Override, indeed.
Overriding it based on the type column. Going to be router, I'm guessing, was the name?
Indeed, router. Then
you can change the layout again.
You can choose any shape. I will choose another color to make it nicer. Sorry if the color is not...
That's good, that's good. You already added blue, and I like blue, so I'm happy. Anything else is a bonus.
So I will choose another type, for example. I will choose this one, for example.
Yes.
And then the label, will be the name.
Yes.
Or also could be the IP address, but I will choose a name just to keep the consistency. Okay, and the size, for example, you want to make a large...
a bit larger to indicate maybe it's the top level router, maybe.
Okay, now we end up with our nodes.
But where are the edges?
Yes, we need the edges.
We need the edges, otherwise we've just made a few nice images here, but there's no connectivity between them.
Indeed. So then, now I will start with the next part, is to configure the edges. So, as you see, I didn't touch this one yet. That's the reason it says unsigned queries. And this one I will assign as a edge. And then again, it goes at the bottom. And here I need to choose two things, the source and the destination device ID. So here I need to choose the column that has a connection between my nodes and the edges, and which is the device ID.
Right, yeah, because the device ID is what we mentioned is going to be used to indicate the connectivity between source and destination.
Exactly.
So you want to indicate, well, the value in those rows is the device ID of the other table.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So then I have the source and I have the destination device ID.
Mm-hmm.
And then, voila.
Magic. Immediately.
Okay.
That's already cool.
Okay.
It reorganized itself as well. Yeah.
But yeah, something nice, something that maybe we can think about, we can change it here.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, in my diagram, I have the router at the top.
Yes.
So how can I change that? There are different ways, but I can choose, for example, a way that will make easier.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason here I have the weight. For example, if I move it, if I give a weight higher than 1,
the weight indicates the position. Top to bottom, where it appears in the.
Well,
cool.
Top to bottom, depending of the layout that you configured.
Okay. So different layouts, the weights will react differently.
Yeah, indeed. But I will talk about that one later.
Yeah. Okay.
But then I already have something nice. Okay.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
And something to make it more dynamic. I can also visualize the direction. As you can see, the animation in the connection, so that you can see.
Oh, yes, it's going from switch to router.
Because the source was my switch that goes to router.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect.
What happens if you would have, maybe a difficult question, but I like asking those sometimes. What happens if you've got a connection that goes both ways? If you have one at source destination and destination source, because technically in an IP network, it's generally both directions.
Both
right?
directions.
So
you have bidirectional configuration.
I see. Okay. And that then makes sure that it realizes that you might encounter.
Yeah. What you will see there, I don't have this example here because I want to keep it simple. What you will see here is the connection will be split in two. It's the same connection, but when you highlight, it will be just highlighted.
You
half
have two connections and one going in each direction.
Indeed.
Cool. Okay. And the setup for that, like the table, the data in the table would just be still a single row source destination, or would you have two rows?
You need to have both.
Yes, source destination A to B and B to A.
Similar as the DCF connection table.
Was indeed the same. You had to configure it from both directions.
Indeed.
Okay, makes sense. Sorry to go off track.
No.
I just wanted to know.
No problem. Okay, so then, so we have already our nodes and images.
Yeah.
And something here, for example, that we can say. I don't like to see all this data. So I think it was kind of obvious where I was hovering the mouse, and what I see here is the columns.
Yes, the content of your table of your data, input data.
So, for example, imagine that, I have this nice information here, but I would like just to see...
Filter that maybe, or show only one or two things, or something else.
Indeed. For example, for me, the device ID, it doesn't give me too much information. So then I can remove the device ID.
Yes.
And I can show, for example, also the type, because the type I can see already with my icon that I know that's a router, for example. And I can keep, for example, the IP address of the state. Yes. How can I do that? You can go to your data, the query that you use to build the Node-H diagram. And here I go to my node network devices, and I can just drag and drop, for example.
All right. So that it's in your query that you're changing these things.
Indeed. So then I will choose the name, the IP address, and the state. So then if I go here...
It only has what you dragged and dropped.
Indeed.
And if you don't drag and drop anything, it's everything.
It's everything.
Cool. Is there already something at this point we could say they can screenshot and send in if people are following, they want to get some points? Or is there something really important you still want to show before we do the screenshot?
Because I would like to finalize.
You want to add the PCs, of course, and get the full image. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Yeah. We got this. We've done it once. I'm going to guess it's similar.
Indeed.
Okay.
So, but here that there is a small difference in a sense that in the first time, or the first node, it have a combination of components. I have a combination of devices, no?
Yes,
router and switches.
Types were different, but in the same table.
Indeed. Now I have
PCs.
Only PCs.
And they all go to either switch 1 or switch 2.
Indeed.
Okay.
So That's also what you can see here. You can configure different nodes types.
I see. Yes. Okay.
So then you see that. So you can work with the same table and make overrides.
Yes.
And also you can work with different GUI queries that represent nodes that you can also combine.
Okay, so it's not just having one table where you can make multiple types of nodes. You can also have multiple tables that end up as the same type of node.
Indeed.
Cool. Completely flexible.
So then that's the reason here I have my node PC.
Okay.
We already saw it at the beginning. I just need to drag and drop. Of course, it's not displayed because
we need to configure.
Exact. If I go here, I will see it already here. So I need to set it as a node. Again, if I click, it will go to the bottom. Okay, well, to the bottom of the node.
Yes.
Similar exercise.
You need to define the device ID probably, or
indeed. And then I have the circles.
Yes, and now we need, well, either layout or edges.
Yeah, we can just make some shapes just to make it nice. For example, I can choose, I don't know, a decagon, and
sure.
I can choose here PC, for example.
Yeah,
it's PC. And let's just use another color, kind of.
Yeah, make sure it's visible.
Yeah,
looks good.
Okay, perfect. And the label, of course, the device name, just to keep it to keep the consistency.
And then the big one, the edges.
The edges.
Going
so then,
from PC to switch.
Something that you notice that I only have one single edge query. No, and that one I have all my...
Everything is in there.
Everything is there. Okay, you can also have, another edge.
Multiple queries.
That represent edges as well.
Okay.
Okay, so flexible.
Yes. So in this case, we need to configure the already existing edge.
Indeed.
And do something there.
Yeah, indeed. So first, this is the one that I just configured.
Yes.
And as you can see here, I have some icons here that represents the network devices, connection with network devices. I would like to have this one to be the connection between the switch and the router. The switch is the source, destination, router. So where is my switch? My switch is here. And I need to, of course, uncheck this one. And then the router is this guy over here. And of course, I need to disconnect this one.
Okay, so these are matching the icons you decided on with your layout.
Yeah,
I see.
And now, similar as before, I can do an override as well.
And I was going to ask, and now you can define an additional configuration for the edges between the PCs and your switches.
Indeed, and here I have my PC, connection between my PC
and then
source
on the other hand you would say
switches.
And it appears as if by magic.
Yep. And I can also do visualization. You can define, for example, a dotted line.
That's amazing. That's really easy. And I mean, 22 minutes we set this all up, even fully explaining it as well. So anything else really important on that, or should we say let's screenshot this one and go
definitely
with it?
We can screenshot this one because I think that was the example that I want to showcase. So yeah, I think if we can take a screen, or if we can create a node edge there and like have this, that should be already.
I mean, it was really simple and fun to see the layout changes immediately happening. Pretty much like hot reloading everything you do of configuration. So okay, in that case, I would say to everyone following along, if you got to this point, and you should have, it's quite easy, take a screenshot of this, send it in using what's described in the description on how to do that, and then we'll make sure you get some of those fun DevOps points that you can use in all manner of things. Okay, Miguel, unless there's something really special or different, I would say thank you very much for showing this.
No problem.
Thank you very much for making time.
No problem.
And doing this. And to everyone watching, if you are watching from YouTube, do not forget, like the video, subscribe, ring that notification bell. And other than that, I'll catch you guys later.